guys! This makes me kind of uncomfortable in a strange way because I feel like the stories that I'm about to tell, people are gonna have some opinions on. For those of you who don't know, I have a sleep disorder. It's a form of parasomnia called hypnagogic hallucinations. I recommend that you watch the videos linked in the description where I talk about this disorder and I talk about what it entails before you watch this video. When I made the first video about seeing dead people at night, I told one of my scary sleep stories, and so many of you requested that I tell more of them. I love watching videos like this. I absolutely love scary stories, so that's why I wanted to share this with you today. I'm gonna be telling 2 of my scariest, freakiest sleep stories, and I have about 50 more, so if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Let me know in the comments that you want more stories like this. To catch those of you up who haven't seen my other videos on my disorder, essentially I hallucinate at night. I wake up in the middle of the night and I have full-blown hallucinations. And for the most part, that is what I believe is happening to me. And that's where I get a little nervous about the opinions because, especially with some of the stories I'm about to tell you, and some of the stories that I'd like to tell you in the future, I have a feeling people are gonna be telling me that I've got demons. Okay, I'm just gonna tell you the stories. It's very normal for me to wake up and see people. I'm very used to it at this point. But there are a number of these experiences that really stand out to me because they were either especially vivid or especially frightening, and this was one of those times. I woke up in the middle of the night. This was when I still lived at my parents' house, so I slept alone. I woke up in the middle of the night, as per usual, and there was a woman there. She was really large, like a really large, imposing presence. She was indigenous, and she had tattoos all down her arm and over her left breast. I could see this because I could tell she was wearing some sort of tank top, but I just remember this striking tattoo all up here and around her shoulder and down her arm. After I woke up and I saw her, we made eye contact, and she said, "Elena, there's spiders in your bed. They're all over your bed and they're all over your arms." And I looked down, sure enough, there were spiders crawling all over my arms and all over my bed. And I started freaking out and trying to wipe these spiders off me, and I heard her say again, "Elena." I turned back and I looked at her, and when I turned and looked at her, the spiders were gone. I asked her why she was here and who she was. She said that she was here to help me and that I wasn't supposed to be afraid, and I couldn't stop looking at her tattoos. I couldn't now tell you exactly what they were because, like I said in my other video, I am still blind during these dreams. I'm very blind, for those of you who don't know. I have very strong contacts in and very thick glasses that I need to see. So when I wake up in the middle of the night and I'm hallucinating, these hallucinations are also blurry, like my vision would be in regular day-to-day life. I couldn't tell you what the tattoo was. I couldn't make it out. So I asked her, "What's your tattoo of?" But she wouldn't answer me. She just kind of shied away. She backed away from my bed a little bit. And this is when I had my first realization moment that this was a hallucination. I can't explain to you when or why I realize it, but most of the time when these things are happening, there's some point when I realize that I'm hallucinating. I realize that it's not real. And so I had to build up the courage to reach out toward her to turn my lamp on. Whenever I turn on my light while I'm hallucinating, the hallucinations stop. They don't stop when I realize that I'm hallucinating, but they do when I turn the light on. It's always scary as shit to turn the light on because I have to reach my hands out from the safety of my bed and into unknown territory. So I reach out, I turn the lamp on, but she doesn't disappear. She's still there, staring at me. And when I turned the light on, she actually reacted. She shied away and hid her arm and hid her tattoo as if it was something that I wasn't supposed to see or something that I wasn't supposed to ask about. And then she pointed at my bed, which is never a good thing when you're hallucinating people in your room and they turn and point at something you can't see. Not a good sign. So she's standing like this and she points at my bed down by my feet. Oh, this is so scary. She said, "There's something laying over your feet. Look, Elena, there's something over your feet." And I didn't look. I looked at her, I kept looking at her, and I told her, "No, that's just my blanket. I have my blanket covering my feet." She said, "No, it's not your blanket. You need to look right now." I turned my head, and remember, the light is on at this point. I look down, and there's this big gray mass laying over top of my legs, like a giant slug, but not sticky or wet. Just this big gray bulbous thing, and it's on me. And as I looked at it, it reached the top bit of it up. I don't know if it was its head, I don't know what to call it. It reached up and then stung my bed, and it was poisoning the bed that I was sitting in. So at this point, I had had enough. And I texted my friend Landis, and I was like, you gotta come help. I'm freaking out here. This is bad. And now here's where it gets weird. And I know the whole thing has been weird, but here's where it gets mentally very weird. Right after I texted him, he showed up. Obviously not real Landis, but Landis came into my room. And I didn't recognize that he was also a hallucination. So I thought that real Landis had shown up. He came into my room, he sat on my bed, and of course when he walked in, all the other hallucinations stopped. The woman was gone, the thing was gone, the spiders were gone, the poison was gone. It was just Landis. And I thought, thank God, my friend is here to help me. And we were kind of talking for a while. I was telling him what had just happened. He was saying, oh, don't worry about it, like it's gonna be okay. And then this shadow figure, this shadow boy, came into the room and started dancing. Landis was sitting on my bed, and this boy, this shadow thing, was dancing at the edge of my bed. Like it was strange and disturbing. And I turned to Landis and I said, it's happening again. And he turned, ugh, and he turned back to me and he said, I see it too. And that is where I lost my shit. Because in my head, this was real Landis. But I also knew that the dancing shadow thing was fake. I knew that was a hallucination. I knew it wasn't real. And so to have real Landis tell me that he was also seeing this hallucination, that must mean it's not a hallucination. That must mean it's really happening. If Landis sees it too. If this real person, if this friend is also seeing this thing, it's not just in my head. There's actually a dancing shadow person in my room right now. And I lost it. I was laying in my bed, I was sobbing, and I did the same thing that I did in that last story that I told. I pulled the blanket up over my head and I just cried. I cried myself back to sleep, and I woke up in the morning, and then of course I realized that Landis wasn't real either, that it was all a hallucination, but I was shook. And now here's another layer to make things even stranger. I went to school the next day and I was telling one of my friends about this dream that I had had. To this day, I don't know what to think about this. I don't know if she was telling the truth or if she was just trying to freak me out or what. I have no idea to this day. But when I was telling her about the indigenous woman that I saw, her eyes got wide and she said, I dreamt about her too. She told me that she also had a dream about a large indigenous woman with a tattoo on her left side, and the woman had come to her and helped her through a bad dream. I don't know. And I wish that there was a way for me to know whether or not she was making that up, because I don't know how to feel about it. The next experience that I want to share is much shorter than that one, but freaky nonetheless. One night when I was living at my parents' house, this one happened before the one that I just told you, because my bed was in a different position, and the dream that I was just telling you about, my bed was like this, here, so there was room on either side and all the way around it. In this one, the bed is turned this way, so my head is here and my feet face this little nook where the door was. I woke up in the middle of the night, and that corner where my feet were was just a shadow. It was almost like there was a giant cobweb in that corner of the room, draping down from the top corner of the ceiling, draping down like a cobweb onto my bed, but it was just a shadow. I couldn't see anything in the corner. And I sat up, and I'm looking at the shadow thing, like, what you doing here? What is that? And this sounds so creepy. I heard laughter. It sounded like two little girls laughing. When I heard that, it was like they knew that I heard them and they went quiet. And I was sitting there staring at this darkness. These little girls start saying, come play with us. I know it sounds so creepy. And they're both saying it. Come play with us, Elena. Come here. Come, Elena, come play with us. And so in that mindset of confusion and hallucination and like what's happening here, I start crawling on my bed toward this corner. So I'm gonna go play with them, apparently. As I'm crawling toward them, I have that moment of realization that this is strange. I realize that this should not be happening. I realize this must be some sort of nightmare. Something's not right here. Everything felt dark and scary and wrong. This was about the time, if you guys have seen my Draw My Life video, you know what I'm talking about. This was about the time in my life where I had told one of my friends about these hallucinations, and she had told me that they were demons and that I was possessed and needed to seek an exorcist. And she had told me that when these demons visit me at night, in order to make them go away, I need to invoke the name of the Lord, and it will banish them back to where they came from. Keep in mind, we had had this conversation like the day before. So all of this is fresh in my memory of her telling me that it's demonic and all this stuff. So that's probably why I had the hallucination in the first place. I realized that everything is wrong and that, oh my god, they're demons. And so I say out loud, in the name of the Lord, be gone. And poof, it disappeared. And there I was on all fours in the middle of my bed, convinced 100% that I was possessed. It's important to also note, I think, that I then tried that same method in later night terrors, and it had no effect. Those are two of my freaky sleep stories, my sleep horror stories, you could possibly call them. And that is it for this video. If you guys enjoyed it, please give it a thumbs up. Let me know in the comments if you want more scary stories like this. Thank you so much for watching. I love you very much, and I will see you next week. Bye!